So I'm going to be tying a size 12 pattern that I came up with. I call it the lady finger. This is one that I used today. Probably 12, 15 fish on it. I've been using, I don't know the diameter, but it's a small ultra wire silver. The next one, I'm going to use this. Don't really have a size on this one, but it's copper. It's a little bit thicker than this wire. Maybe it'll hold it together a little better. But instead of shaving that one down all the way, we're just going to start with fresh new ones. I do like to use a little bit bigger bead head, but these are all I have right now. I'm waiting on a shipment, which is taking forever to get here. So, without further ado, here we go. The thread is Cream Ultra 70 denier UTC. Not sure what the UTC means. I think it's a brand. I haven't had trouble with this thread at all, but I did get turned on to another brand from a friend of mine that I really like. It's called Vivus. It's 14-aught. This stuff's really nice. I like it, but I'm going to use all this before I jump over to that. So anyway, that's another story for another day. We've got chartreuse marabou. And I actually ordered this to tie hair jigs for striper fishermen with conventional rod and reels. I think I might have one laying around here tied. Yep, here it is. I also have been using it for these for my spring crappie fishing. But I'm going to tear off two chunks, put them together, one off each side of this marabou. Put them together. Don't really care about the cut ends, I care more about the tail ends of them, how even they are. This is about how much you're going to want to have for your tail for the end of it. It may look like a lot at the beginning, but it's actually not very much. Spin this up so it'll get tight. And this stuff is UV2 marabou fluorescent chartreuse. Measure it. You want your desired length of your tail. Pinch it where you want it to stop. Tie it on the back. Get two good solid wraps on it. I don't think I even need to move that. So I'm going to go back to the front wrap, get one on it, pull this up and build me a body down the front. Kind of spread it out a little bit around this. I don't need a real big body, so I'm going to pull off all these strays that are sticking off. Wrap around. Now if I had the bigger bead, I would use all the little extra fluff that's hanging out. I would leave them in there so that it builds that body up more. I'll worry about that later. I'll go back to the front, or to the back I mean. Pull this up. I want to keep this on top of the hook as best I can. It's gonna fold around it naturally. which is fine if it goes halfway down it. I like it to kind of be on top of it, because when this is all said and done, it's actually going to be upside down. I'll tear off about 4 or 5 pieces of this orange. Now this, I don't really know what to tell you on this. I got it from Hobby Lobby. It's just a package of, quote, fancy feathers from Hobby Lobby. There's really no name to them, just fancy feathers. I think I got the whole bag for $3. And with as small stuff as I make, this is long enough. So I want it to be a little bit shorter than the chartreuse tail on these. And to make sure that it stays where I want it, I'm going to drop it at a 45, catch it loosely right here, pull it tight on the side, pull it back down here, get a wrap on it where it's going to the side like that. And I'm gonna take my time and spread it out, being very meticulous. Pull it down, got it where I want it. Go back. I'm gonna catch all this and pull it down and get it out of my way so I can get the next one. Might as well go to the front, wrap all this down while I'm at it. I'm ready to go on. Get about 4 or 5. This one's going to be a little longer video than most of my videos because this fly takes a little time. We can thank my wife for standing here patiently videoing this. Measure it about right there. Now this one's a little easier to get where you want it because you can put it on top of it and then pull it to the side. And it will naturally pull it to the side on its own. You can always add more if what you put on isn't enough. It's actually, in my opinion, more difficult to take it off than it is to add to it. I'm going to cut some of it off. I don't need that big of a body. Typically, I'm a lot more neat with my throwing my material, my excess away, but I'm trying to hurry. Feel bad for my wife. I'm going to add a little bit more of this fluorescent chartreuse because I want it to be the main color. I don't want that orange to be the main. I want that orange to just be a subtle change in it. Catch it, keep it on top, just like the first one. Get back to even with the rest. Work my way back to the front. Same thing. The reason I do this now, even though I don't need the body, is because it helps hold the tail in better. Anybody that's tied much will understand. This marabou will pull out if you don't get it tied in good. Now we're going to go to this wire. You want to run it down the same side of the hook that you are on. You'll understand why later when you go to wrapping it. You want to make sure and get the back tied in really good and tight, because that's where all the pressure is going to be when you start to wrap it. The rest of this is just kind of pulling it down, keeping it on there. I really wish I had a bigger bead. I forgot to grab put it up here. This, there's no name on it, but it's duck breast feathers, dyed chartreuse, or green, whatever you want to call it. You can argue about it, I don't care. I'll find one. Oh, there's one of those. I'm going to need that. I'll show you what it is in a minute. And I want to pull back these little short ones, get to the bigger ones. That'll be enough to get started. So pull it off the vein. And typically you'll cut this little piece off, but I don't really care right now. Just trying to get this done. You want to catch all the ends you can catch to make the body as thick as you can. Wrap it back. You ain't got to go tight till you go back to the front. Now I'm going to make them nice and tight. Cut off this excess. Probably going to stop right about there. This is the tough part with this. Just wrapping it up. Yeah, that's gonna. I was afraid of that. I didn't get thick enough. So I'm gonna have to take this off and do it again. That radio is driving me nuts. I need to turn it off. Let's try this again. That'll be plenty. Okay. Get it to the end. Make sure my wire's tight. Or my thread, not wire. Snug it. Wrap it to the back where I want it. Right there. Alright. Tight forward. Cut this off. And wrap it. See how some of them break off? Actually, almost all of those broke off. Wow. I'm going to have to find some better material. This stuff's probably several years old. Let's try it again. Sorry, Abby. Maybe this will be strong enough. There we go. All right. See if you can get a good video of this. Because this is important. This is what makes this body. I'm going to go to about right here because I'm going to make a thorax. Get tight wraps. Cut all that off. Wrap it down snug. Okay. maybe we'll be able to do this without doing 2 more. We'll just get 1 more, hopefully. Okay. Sorry. Alright. Go back to it. Where it stopped. That'll be good right there. Now, this piece right here is called biot. It came off of this side, I don't know if you can see that, of a feather. And it's just another one of those. I took it out of the package and put it in a Ziploc bag because they were falling everywhere. It's just another package of fancy feathers from Hobby Lobby. But before I put that on, I'm going to put these on. Get about the size you want. I want them to be fairly small. These I will cut off. If I don't, they get in the way. Measure it. I'll measure it just past the bend of the hook. That's where I want it to be. I'll tie it in. I want it on the side. Snug it. That's not quite long enough. We're going to go about, what is that? About a 1/4 inch past the bend of the hook. That's about where I want it, I think. Yep, okay. Get a couple wraps on it. Cut it off fairly close. Catch it, pull it down tight. Get back. Now, get another one for the other side. About the same amount. Cut it off. Make sure it's about the same length. Right there. Pull it to it and snug it up. Make sure it stays on this side. And make sure it's even with the other one, like so. Cut it off fairly close. Cover it up. Roll it over. Pull this down. This is where the biot comes in. I'm going to take the thick side of the biot and tie it down. And I'm going to make sure, if you look at these, you probably won't be able to tell in this video, but if you look at these on each side, there's a difference. This side and this side. The other side's got little quills sticking up. This side is just, this side's got quills sticking up. This side is more smooth. So I want this side to be the one that's showing whenever I fold it over. I'm going to tie this in. And you're going to have trouble with the video on that. Get this all rolled up. And since it's getting stubborn, take my tweezers. I kind of figured you would need to. And try to roll this around. Now, I have to do this. Sometimes I have to do this. Cut it off. And it'll slip underneath there. And try it again. There we go. Now I'm going to make this even with the feathers that are on the side. Then I'm going to go back down it, make sure that's nice and snug on there. Now we'll go back to the top. This is where it gets tricky. Pull all this out of the way. Pull, pull. You notice I'm using my whip finish as the tool to pull these things out of the way. Pull that so I can see this. Catch that biot if I can. Pull it out of the way. There we go. Go around. Now I'm going to try to slip in front of the biot. Yes, it worked. It's going to be enough to go to the front. Sweet. I want to finish this on, technically it would be, oh no. Technically, when I finish it, it'll be the bottom. But for now, we'll call it the top because that's where it's at. Because, will you zoom in on this? Right here, on the top. There's a little slot on that hook, or that bead head. And that's where I want to tie this in so that it's tied in, it's kind of hidden. It doesn't bulk up on my, see how I pulled it over into that slot? It don't bulk up my hook, or my head on my fly. Pull that off. Get one, maybe two wraps on it. Now, this is why I ran the wire down this side, because I'm going to go the opposite direction that I wrapped the quills, so that whenever fish start tearing this thing up, it will hold it together. And there may be a better way to tie this pattern. I just haven't found it out yet. I've only tied a handful of these. This is probably my 6th or 7th one. Over time, I'll figure them out. Maybe I'll get a faster way to tie them. Maybe I won't. Who knows? I'm going to bring it behind the biot this one last time. Just make your wraps nice and even. Look between these. And I'm going to finish this on top as well, in that same little area. This is where it'll get tricky to tie it in. So I'm going to go over the wire, pull it up where it's on that slot, pull it down tight, and get a couple wraps, about 3 or 4. I'm going to do 3, and then I'm going to go back around it. Get a couple good wraps, 1 or 2 behind it, and then just helicopter it off. This is a pretty bulky head, so I'm going to be extremely careful not to go over it. But you just grab your little legs, get a wrap on them, grab this side, pull it up to the side, make sure it's on the side, snug them. We'll go about 2, 3 back, just depends on where it ends up. Pull these back. Catch them. Maybe a wrap or two on them, and then flip it over. Pull this buyout down. Catch it. Snug it. Get a couple wraps on it. Cut it off close. Can't use those. Gotta use the scissors. Try to slip one in behind it if you can to make it stand up. Alright. Roll it back over. Get a couple whip finishes on it. I've actually ordered some fluorescent orange thread to do this with. And I'm going to get some orange bead heads to do this with. They're going to be 3.2. This is why I want the bigger, the 3.2 beads, because this will, on a 3.2 bead, it'll be a little bigger, and I'll be able to build the body better. But it's your finished product. I call it a lady finger.